your non-submission and your lack. Maybe you're not making a link up, a connection between your lack and rebellion. But you need to see that your lack stems from your rebellion to those who seek to lead you to Christ and from Christ himself. There is a connection between the two. Your rebellion is what is derailing you. The fact that you don't want to be led to Christ, the fact that you won't receive Jesus when he shows you himself, is why you're still in your lack. But I'm not speaking about material lack, because there's a higher lack than that. There's a deeper lack than that. It's a lack of your feeling fulfilled that you need to overcome. And what is Jesus trying to pass on to you? Let me back up a little bit. What I'm saying is, and I'm trying to link the two now, you cannot defeat your loss. The only way to defeat your loss or escape your loss is if when Jesus shows you himself that you receive him. It says, to as many as receive him, gave he the ability and the strength and the power to become the sons of God. He's still alive and he's still offering himself to us. In the declaration, the fact is, are we receiving Jesus Christ and what he's showing to us? The message is very basic. You cannot defeat, listen to me, you cannot defeat your loss. The only escape from out of your loss, out of your lack, and out of your physical condition is whenever, wherever Jesus Christ shows you something that you, recognizing that it is Christ, submit to what he shows you. Specifically, not an attitude. Not in, well, God, I've seen your glory and you're beautiful and I want to have it and I want to submit to you one of these days. But that you do what he says at the same time that he says it, that you submit to it with the intention of doing what he says. And if you have the verification by the glory, if you know that it's Jesus by this access to his glory, then you ought never to reject him. Because it's not coming in a word from the oppressor or from your mind, but rather it's coming in a revelation in the beauty of the person of Jesus Christ. The result, the outcome of your being in the physical condition, the outcome of your being in the diseased condition of the soul, is that the loss of this diseased condition have free course in you. They cannot be controlled as long as you remain in the physical condition. God did not create us in this condition, but he has an antidote for this disease. He has the remedy for the poison of this condition, which is a loss. We need this antidote that Jesus is offering to us in himself. We need the remedy that counteracts the effects of the poison, which is a loss of the physical condition. We need the antidote to neutralize the poison of the physical condition. Who is here with Brother Sam? I want you to stay focused. I want you to stay in tune. When I say focused, I mean your mind is sharp. It's looking at the things that Jesus is saying to us, that we are examining what he's showing to us for my own betterment. In other words, for your own betterment. Not that you seek to lift anybody else up but yourself. The question is, how do we open ourselves to the window of opportunity that can help us to escape from this physical condition and from the loss that derive thereof? How do we open ourselves to the window of opportunity How do we make ourselves available? I wonder who's here. How do we make ourselves? How do we bring ourselves in a location, whether it's physical or spiritual, that enhances my opportunity for seeing a declaration in Jesus Christ? What are the circumstances? One, seeking Christ on your own. It's very simple. Seeking Christ. When you're seeking Him, He's seeking to deliver you. And He's going to find you right where you are. Just give Him a chance by seeking Him. How do you open yourself to this opportunity? Second, by coming to church so that you can be inspired by your brothers, or opening yourself to anyone who you may have any simple idea that is in the spiritual way. To open yourself to a brother who is interested in Jesus Christ. No need for you to get chummy and have fellowship with those who are not interested in Jesus Christ. Why are you wasting your time? You're wasting your time for nothing. Why fellowship? Why gossip? Why waste time with those who are leading you further and further within Christ? To put it mildly, why are you wasting your time with those who don't have access to Jesus Christ? And you should know who have access to Jesus Christ. You should know who are in their assigned course because of the fact that you can be inspired to see Jesus Christ, or at least into the atmosphere general of the spiritual ages by their physical work. Who's still here? I want you to work this one with me, please. 2 Peter 1:4. What is the antidote? What is it that Jesus Christ offers us in Himself? Are you there? What is it that Jesus offers as the antidote to the physical condition? What is it that Jesus offers to counteract the effects of the lust of the flesh? What do we have available to us? What is the remedy that Jesus offers to us? In general, we know that it's Jesus. But specifically, how do we lock into our deliverance from the physical condition so that we can defeat the lust of our flesh? Are you there with me? What mechanism, what route, what method is available to me for me to rid myself of my lust by ridding myself of my physical condition? Remember, you cannot rid yourself by attacking your lust. You cannot rid yourself of your lust, full stop, in your own strength. You need someone to change your condition from one thing to the next so that the lust will not mean anything to you anymore, so that your lust would be neutralized. I'm asking, what is that? What is the antidote? I've already hinted at it. Let me spell it out for you. It's nothing that has anything to do with anything that is physical. It has nothing to do with your mind or the functioning of your strength or your willpower or your determination. It has to do with the ability of Jesus Christ to connect each of us to who we spiritually are on the other side. Because Jesus does have the ability to connect us to who we already are on the other side. Who is here? Amen. Does anybody believe that? Amen. That is what Jesus is for. That is what He's handing to you. Amen. Your deliverance from out of your physical condition and the loss therefrom by allowing you to retain the body of knowledge from eternity and for you to be connected to the experience of that body of knowledge that he offers to you in himself. The solution can only come in the person of the spiritual Jesus Christ. If you submit to the body of knowledge that he presents to you in himself, and when you do that, he is going to allow you to experience what is there that pertains to me, not my spirit, but to me as a completed vessel existing in Jesus Christ on the other side. It's in 2 Peter 1:4. Who's there? Through which are given unto us. Through what? What is it through which or whereby that is being referred to in verse 4? It's in verse 3. Through the knowledge of Jesus Christ, who had called us to glory. He has called you to this existence in glory. I wonder if you see it. It's by a knowledge of Jesus Christ that are given unto us what is prized greatly and precious by the writer of 2 Peter. What is it that he's praising? Look at 1862 in the Strong's, at the back of the book, please. Epangelma from 1861, which is to announce upon. Oh, just stay with me and focus on what I'm saying. Epangelma from 1861, which is to announce upon. If you come over to the lexical with me, please, to 1862, you're going to see it's good if you all see it. The suffix ma makes it the result of epangelo, to proclaim. Who sees that? Amen. The result of having had Jesus declare something to us. This knowledge comes through the knowledge of Jesus Christ from 2 Peter 1:4. Who's there? Come back with me, please. We can get the knowledge of having Jesus announce something to us because we know him. Because he declares something to us in himself, using the words that I have used. What is the result of having Jesus announce something to us? The result is the spiritual connection, which comes because we have submitted. That's the result. And the writer is saying that the spiritual connection being the result of having had a declaration announced to us or declared to us, the spiritual connection is what the writer values greatly. He highly values, he gives great value to this spiritual connection. Why? Why do you think that the writer of 2 Peter gives great value to the spiritual connection? Because it's right there. Look at it. It is because through the spiritual connections to Jesus Christ, these, not this, it's all one, but it's a continuous submission and a continuous receiving declaration, so that we're continuously connected over and over to Jesus Christ, so that we can be partakers of the divine. Look at 54:49, if you don't know it yet. 54:49, please. Growth. Fusis. Who sees it? 54:14, and it's not nature but growth. It means that we are growing in Jesus Christ as we are spiritually connected over and over to Jesus Christ, that we experience the nature of Jesus Christ because we're connected. That is what the connection instigates you to understand, that you are experiencing His divine nature not in a still photo, not in one shot, but on a continuous basis. Do we experience this divine nature, and we experience growth? Who's here? The spiritual connections, which is a result of Jesus declaring to us and our submission to what He declares to us, that the spiritual connection is how we become partakers of the divine growth, instigating you to understand that it is a progression, that it is a process back to the Father. Who's here? I'm going very slowly, so there's something here that you should be missing. What is the reason for this partaking of the divine growth and the divine nature? What is the reason for it? Having escaped the decay or ruin of remaining in the world by epithumia lusts, the spiritual connection means that you are partaking in the divine nature, and it indicates the method of your connection and of your partaking in the divine nature, because it is of growth. The result of the spiritual connection, what happens when you are spiritually connected to Jesus, is that you partake in the divine nature and growth, and that means that you have escaped the decay and the ruin of being in the world. And the decay comes from the lust. Your derailment, your oppression that is caused by the lust is removed, having escaped, is removed because of the spiritual connection, since you have submitted to Jesus Christ. Who is still here? Is that plain to you or not? I want to address this issue. I want to address this issue of the divine growth and exactly what it means, because I've always taught you that when you're connected to Jesus Christ, you are functioning as if you are already a completely supplanted vessel, that you're functioning as if you are a completely perfected vessel as you exist in eternity. Haven't I taught you that? Well, how can there be growth? The growth refers to your progress in the spiritual way, that you are ascending onwards and upwards in your spiritual way, that every time you function in a physical expression, the result of a spiritual connection to a spiritual work, the physical work doesn't get any more perfect. It remains perfected with each single successive expression. What is being perfected is your growth in the spiritual way as you proceed towards the end of it. Who is here? Have I made that pretty clear? The only way for spiritual connection to take place is if you submit to the declaration that Christ shows you first. In other words, there cannot be a spiritual connection without a declaration. You will never experience the divine nature unless there is a physical manifestation in some physical work that results from a spiritual connection to a spiritual work. You can't tell me that you're sitting in your chair and that you're spiritually connected to Jesus in full when you're doing nothing. There has to be some expression that comes forth out of your mouth, out of your body, to indicate that there's something taking place in eternity. Who's here? Just let me repeat to you, because it bears repetition. The oppressor's job is to keep you from the body of knowledge pertaining to who you are on the other side by any means. The oppressor uses any means that's available to you. He's going to use the deception of the physical condition, religion, and the lust of the flesh. He's going to use anything that's available to him, and he uses them very successfully and efficiently and persuasively to keep us from this body of knowledge that is available to us in submission and the declaration. Once you have this body of knowledge, the oppressor tries to keep you from suniaini this knowledge. He tries to keep you from bringing this knowledge to a spiritual connection so that you do not experience a spiritual walk in who you are. All the while, the oppressor is promoting your lust. Cooperate with your lust, and you're helping the oppressor keep you oppressed. He's going to try and keep you from experiencing your true self in liberation. Christ counteracts the lust with his glory, and trying to attract you by this glory, and our seeking is for the glory and for liberation. The declaration is sweet, but not as sweet and complete as the spiritual connection. You will attain some sweetness when Jesus shows you something, what the religious call when you are saved. You're going to experience some sweetness, but that sweetness is not complete until you submit to what he has shown you directly. And nothing compares to it. It is a sweetness not of being connected to the spiritual world, but it being in the glory of God in Jesus Christ. Christ shows us the work in order for us to submit to it. There can be no spiritual connection without the declaration. In other words, generally speaking, in broad terms, I cannot come to church undeclared by Jesus Christ. I can't come empty-handed and expect that Jesus Christ on the spot is going to show me something for me to give to you. But that rather I be prepared and that I have received and noticed what Jesus Christ has declared to me, so that when I come and I'm connected spiritually, that I can understand fully the knowledge of that declaration, and the result of it to you is a physical expression that you can hear with your ears. We used to believe that you're supposed to come to church unprepared, and as you come and you're before your accusers, then God is going to tell you what to say. Well, our knowledge has increased since we believe that, and we believe now that we need to receive something and submit to it from Jesus Christ so that we can function in that full knowledge. Who is still here? There must be something we submit to before we are connected to Jesus Christ. Irrespective of the time involved, and the more intricate the work is, the more you need to listen and take note. That is why the Lord said to the prophets, write down what I tell you, because they would not be able to remember what they were shown in the face of opposition by those who did not know Christ. The is, why can't we just have an encounter, an experience without the declaration? Why did God make it that way? Because he needed an input from us. He needed to know that we had submitted to him, that we had willfully agreed to go along with him. Who's here? Without a declaration, there's no way for God to know whether we have submitted. We would be just like robots. Our involvement is needed. Our input is needed. And our will must be sacrificed for the sake of Jesus Christ. The second encounter completes our knowledge of the walk. One of the last things that I need to tell you about the spiritual connection is that any spiritual connection is equal to any other one. All spiritual connections are equal. There's none that's better or more sweet or anything than any other one in the true sense, because all of them come with a connection to Jesus Christ and to our experiencing of what exists in eternity in Jesus Christ. So one connection to the glory of God is equal to any other connection. And that is what we're really seeking. We are seeking a connection with the glory of God. What appears to be different is the physical expression. The spiritual walk means the same to someone who has experienced it over and over. Who's still here? Turn me please to Romans 8. Just a couple more things and then we're going to close. You must give yourself time to see Christ. We need time. Time must be a function of seeking. You can't see Christ the last 2 minutes of your life. It's not going to work that way, because there's a plan that Christ needs for you to execute in your life in order for you to experience deliverance on an ongoing basis. We need to spend our priceless time to find Christ. We need time to seek. We need time to develop our ministry. We need enough time to work all the theosemes leading to the destination Rima, the one Christ requires, and when we reach the plateau, to work everything that's there. The question is this: is it worth the race? Are all the spiritual connections worth what you achieve at the end of the race? Is it worth the race? Is your submitting to Jesus Christ worth what you're going to get at the end of the race? To put it in another way, if you know Jesus Christ and are experiencing your spiritual way, who would you trade your life with? Is there anyone in the world that you would trade your life with? It's a matter of, is it worth the race? Because each stop along the way, each spiritual connection is worth all our life. All the effort that we spend in seeking Jesus Christ. Each connection with Christ is worth all the suffering put together of my entire life. Did you hear what I said? If I added up all the suffering of my entire life and put it in one pill, in one cup of wine, it would be less than what I value one spiritual connection to Jesus Christ. It's worth less. The question is this: would you trade your life in eternity with Jesus Christ for anything that's on this side of eternity? That's the real issue. Would you trade the life of the glory in Jesus Christ with everything of wealth in this world? Is the glory of God and your participation in it cheaper than all the wealth? In other words, if you gain the entire world and lose your soul, what would it profit you? Because everything in the world is less than one spiritual connection to Jesus Christ, much less a life of eternity with Jesus. Yet we sell our souls so cheaply for lust. We sell our souls. And the life in Jesus Christ, we sell it so cheaply for a bowl of soup, for nothing, for a pittance, for a fleeting moment, for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes of pleasure. But everything of value in the world is not equal to one connection with Jesus Christ. Even if it is for a millisecond, I would not trade everything in the world. All the wealth of all the ages of this physical realm. I would not trade all the wealth of Solomon and David and Bill Gates and everyone else who was rich in the history of mankind. I would not trade the wealth of Adam for one spiritual connection with Jesus Christ. Because in that millisecond, I am who Jesus Christ created me to be. And no one can stop me from that. No one can stop me from submission. No one should stop you from submitting to Jesus Christ and from submitting to the spiritual way that he has offered to you in himself. Because the glory of the eternal life is worth 100 billion times more than all the worth of all the physical ages. It's worth more than the moon and the stars. It's worth more than the sun. But if you lose your spiritual way, if you refuse to continue in your spiritual way, you cannot buy it back with all the wealth of the world. Think of that. Think, if you postpone following Jesus now, to think that one of these days you will be able to catch up. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee, because by then God would know that you don't have enough time to complete your progression back to him. And he's not going to waste time. There comes a time when there is no returning to Jesus Christ. Why are you risking it? Why are you risking it? Why are you risking a life of submission to your own lusts? Please understand that living in the fulfillment of your life in lust is not life. It's death, and it's dying to who you are on the other side. Romans 8. For the creature was made subordinate or subject to vanity. To Matthew 31:53. Go there with me, please. I want you to see it again. Matthew. Do you see it? 31:53. Inutility, transientness, and moral depravity. For the creature was subordinate. For the person in the physical condition he was not created that way. He became subordinate. He became obedient to. He became under the control of moral depravity, which is useless to us as we pass through this temporary life. The lusts are fleeting. They're not going to last forever. You're not going to abide in the fulfillment of your lust forever. You can only exist in the lust of your pleasure for a fleeting moment. That moment goes. What you do in the spiritual way, in the will of God, cannot be removed because it continues to exist. In Jesus Christ. We weren't created that way. God did not create us in vanity, in uselessness, in our moral depravity. We became that way. We became under the control of the physical condition in our lust because of our decisions. It's because of our decisions that we're still in our lust. Due to a reaction or a coordination with the oppressor. Look at the next word in Romans 8:20. Not willingly. You are under the control of your moral depravity, of your uselessness to yourself regarding your deliverance and salvation. You're in the physical condition. Not willingly. You don't want to be that way. But that's the way we are, and we need to come out of it. We need to come out of this uselessness by surrendering to Jesus Christ, because it can be done by no other method. Who knows that? We made it to the end, so you may as well get brave and strong. You may as well get brave and strong because we are very close to the end. We cannot give up at this late stage of the game. Who is still here? The antidote, let me repeat for you, the antidote to the poison of the lust, the antidote to the effects of the result of the physical condition, which is the lust. The antidote is Christ, and specifically submission to Jesus Christ, so that we can be spiritually connected to the body of knowledge and experience that body of knowledge by this spiritual connection. Who's here? Let me share something in Isaiah with you. Something that I see as part of God's mandate to me in Isaiah 57. Let me share it with you because I don't believe some of you understand what this church is all about. We're not here for social fellowship. We're not here to participate one with another. We're not here for the social gathering. That's not why we're here. We're not here to look at other people's dresses and clothes. We're not here for the chubbiness of being together. We're here for the sole purpose of doing what God sent us to do. Why? Because in it is our salvation. And this is part of my mandate that I have received from Jesus Christ. So I have the boldness and the strength and the determination, which I would love to hand to you in your hand, of desiring to follow Jesus Christ. You must have a determination within you to follow Jesus Christ because you have experienced what it's going to be like for you to live in eternity, and you're not going to trade anything for that experience. It says in Isaiah 57:14, cast ye up. Cast ye up. I want you to check that, please. 55:49. Work with me. We're nearly finished. mount up, to exalt. Solar, who saw it? You know what to mount up means? It means to mount up as if building a pile of dirt, building all this dirt, all this filth of the physical condition, so that we're exalted closer to Jesus Christ. It's build this pile on the remnants of your physical condition, so that you're closer to the spiritual ages to see Christ. Look at 64:37. Turn to the way. Rise or raise the stumbling block out of the way of the people. That's what I'm trying to do. That is what I'm trying to do. And it transcends the physical condition. It transcends tiredness, physical weakness, the experience of heat, the experience of tiredness. It is bigger than that, because once I mount up on my own physical condition and I get closer to God and I turn to my spiritual way, then you have the possibility of being inspired, transcending your physical condition, overcoming your physical condition, where you're not looking at things that are physical. Who's here? You don't overcome the heat by getting air conditioning. You overcome the heat by transcending the heat. Whether the heat be physical or whether it be symbolic of some other predicament in your life. Take the stumbling block. How can I take the stumbling block from out of your way so that you can reach up? How do I do it? It's very simple, by allowing Jesus to connect me to something that he has already declared, so that you have a chance of seeing God. That's how I am instructed, according to the physical word, to inspire you into the spiritual ages. Who's here with Brother Sam? Okay, turn with me to Isaiah 62:10, please. I've been instructed this way. It's not go through, it's cross over. It's cross over from my physical condition to the spiritual condition. How clearly Isaiah saw it. Turn to the way for the people, so the people can have a way. Turn to my way so you can have a way. Cast up, it's the same word again. Exalt or mount up. Inspire others onto the masloos, the thoroughfare, the highway, where more than one of us can travel at the same time. We can go up the thoroughfare at the same time. We can enter into the spiritual ages, all of us together, and that's the church. That's what this church is called to. Gather out the stones. In preparing the building, gather the living stones to create the building. Gather the spiritual assembly. Who's here? By inspiring others into the spiritual ages. We're trying to build a house for the habitation of the Lord, spiritually, not physically. I want you all to hear me, please. Raise not the standard. I know many have taught on raising the standard, on raising the standard of our life. But my friends, it is not what Isaiah said, and therefore we should not be teaching based on falsehood. Even though it may sound sweet to us, we must try and limit ourselves to the things that were originally said. And there's no reason for us to say we don't know Greek or Hebrew, because the means is now presently available for us to get to know everything that there is for us to know. It's not standard, but look, what is it in 52:51, please? I would like you to see it. Yes, signal, thank you. Those of you who don't know, please turn to it so that you can see. A signal. It's not about raising the standard, it's about raising a signal. What's a signal? What is a signal, my brothers? It's a spiritual connection to the spiritual world. That's a signal. That's beaming you upwards. That's giving you divine energy depending on your condition to beam you upwards into the spiritual ages. That's what this is all about. That is why it shouldn't matter to you who comes to church or who doesn't, who follows Jesus. Once you follow, once you are in submission to Jesus Christ, you should not be looking to see if your brother is. All we can do is try to inspire those by Jesus Christ. It's not about raising up, it's not about lifting the standard, my brother. It's about lifting a signal. Who can see that? Who here sees that with me? You can verbalize it, thank you. We want to raise the standard. We want the standard of decency in this country to be lifted beyond the lust of the flesh, beyond the desires of sexual pleasure. That is the downfall of this country. That is the downfall of the culture of this country that we need to overcome by submission to Jesus Christ. And that's the only how we're going to overcome. By submission to Jesus Christ. Once you're connected to Jesus Christ, all the sexual pleasures lose their enticement. There's no more enticement. There's no more stumbling block in your way. It's been removed because your condition has been transferred to that which does not understand sexual appetite and pleasure. Who's here? The creation that Jesus made does not understand sexual appetite and pleasure. Who we are in Jesus does not know, cannot think of, does not look upon sexual appetite or pleasure. One more in Isaiah, then we finished. Isaiah 26. 1 and 2. In that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. This song, that we are a strong city. The spiritual ages, the ages of eternity is a strong city. It cannot be shaken. When the hills and the mountains and the valleys be shaken, the work that we do in Jesus Christ cannot be shaken because it exists in a realm that cannot be changed or altered. And what we seek is to experience that which cannot be changed nor shaken. Who's here? That's our strong city. It's not arms and nuclear weapons and numbers and horses. It's not about having physical strength. It's not about being better and stronger and richer than your enemy, or richer than your neighbor, or richer than your brother. It's about living in this strong city, the heavenly Jerusalem. It's about abiding in it as we exist and survive in this physical realm. Salvation and deliverance will God appoint for walls and bulwarks. Our defense is our deliverance.